Because it's Halloween season, I wanted to share kind of a spooky video about how my partner and I kind of figured out something was wrong with Indiana before anyone else in the medical field picked up that something was wrong. So Indiana was behaving completely as normal. All of his symptoms were really, really vague. My partner and I, we both had dreams the week that he became suddenly ill. He had a dream that Indiana was over the balcony. He had woken up, heard a noise in the dream, looked out, saw Indiana like hand over, trying to, hold himself up, and he had to kind of grab him and pull him hand over hand, trying to get him up over the balcony back into over the railing and back into the flat. And he said it kind of lasted a few minutes and it was really stressful, and but he got him over and he thought, okay, great. And he went back to sleep, forgot about the dream. And then a couple days later, he had another dream where, and again, still no signs of anything with Indiana yet. This was before surgery 1, so there were no signs. He had another dream where he woke up and he was hearing some sounds in the flat, and he knew it was Indiana. And so he went to look for Indiana, and Indiana was in the mouth of a saber-toothed tiger, one of those old, like prehistoric, with the really long teeth, and wrestle Indiana out of the saber-toothed tiger's mouth. And he was really upset because he thought Indiana was covered in his own blood. But he realized that it wasn't Indiana's blood from the mouth of this tiger. He thought maybe he punctured him or something, but in the dream he just thought, oh, it's not his blood, and Indiana was okay. And he, got up and walked away, and Rob held him and everything was okay. And that was another really interesting dream. Again, a few days before Indiana got really sick and nearly died. He had 2 interesting dreams, and he shared one of them with me. And I just thought, oh, that's really weird. I wonder what that's about. And then I thought, okay, like, yeah, what does that mean? There's no signs of anything, But then a few days later, he had the second dream. And again, still no signs of anything. And you're just thinking, okay. And I don't want to go to a negative place and just assume something bad is happening. But then a few days later, that was when it started with him drinking more water, and he was eating, but then he got sick and, regurgitated his food. So just vomited like undigested food particles of his food. But then he wanted to eat again. So, we were like, okay, like he's all right. We spoke to the video vets that we have, and, they said, just monitor him, don't worry. So he was up and down that day. It was a Friday. We couldn't get him in to see anyone. And we didn't want to take him to the hospital at this point because we had no signs of anything odd. So I went to sleep that night, woke up in the morning, and Indiana's kind of the same again, just hungry, but not really, drinking water, not sleeping a lot, but not himself, right? His energy, something wasn't right. And so we just thought, okay, we called the video vet again. It was a Saturday morning, and they said, his symptoms, his gums, everything looks fine. He's breathing normally again. Everything seems normal. And we just thought, we tried to get into our in-person vet again, couldn't get in to see them. And we just decided to take him to a hospital. We were like, okay, I thought my partner's dreams, this gut feeling, it's not like him. He's only 2 years old. These symptoms are, he's behaving really strange. So we took him to this hospital, and they deal with emergencies and things like this. And so we brought him in. They did the preliminary checks of like checking his temperature, his heart rate, his blood pressure, feeling around his stomach, and all the things that they kind of do. And the doctor, the surgeon on site, the vet on site was like, okay, well, you know, I'm not really seeing anything wrong with him. You know, it's up to you. If you do want to, you know, check him in, it's going to cost like, I think it was like 1,200 pounds, which was like $1,700. And she's like, in my opinion, I'm not seeing anything concerning. So why don't you take him home and monitor him? And if, you know, he starts deteriorating or something changes, like he starts vomiting more or, you know, something happens, bring him back. And we were really unsure what to do. We just, at this point, we're like, something's not right with our cat, but we have no real concrete signs of anything, like, you know, no fever, no, you know, nothing. Nothing was really off at this point. And the nurse came in and she reiterated the same thing, like, bring him back in a day, you know, just, you know, don't panic, just monitor him. And so we kind of felt really defeated. And we drove him home and we brought him back and he laid down and I just went in the room and I just cried. I was so upset. I knew something was wrong, but I just could not place what was wrong. And even medical professionals at the stage were like, no one, you know, was seeing anything wrong with our cat, but we just knew something wasn't right with him. You know, your pet, you know when something's not right. So I just took a nap. I started with a meditation and deep breathing and I fell asleep. And the door was closed. I was by myself. Luna and Rob and Indiana were outside of the room. And I fell asleep and it was really peaceful. And all of a sudden I kind of sat up in the bed, but I knew I was still dreaming. But it was like a place in between a dream and real life. It was like I was on another dimension or level. And I know that because I've woken up in a state like this before. And Indiana kind of came into the room and he didn't walk on the floor. It was like he was almost eye level, like a person. And he just kind of hovered on the edge of my bed and was looking at me with his big, beautiful blue eyes. And they just were illuminated with the whitest, brightest, golden light I've ever seen. And the whole room just became white and light and gold and just like the most beautiful, beautiful feeling permeated in that room. And I felt just infinite love, infinite peace, infinite safety in that moment. And I looked at him and he was just completely in his wellness and like an angel, like a higher being. I don't know how to describe it. Those are the only words I can think of, is he was himself, but a much elevated version of him. And he wasn't alone. There were kind of something with him, like an energy or kind of like I couldn't see them, but I felt like they were, again, like a white gold, just kind of like so bright, I could barely really make them out. And he just, you know, kind of sat at the end of my bed with these things behind him. And I just felt love. Something in me felt, you're not crazy. Something is wrong. Take me back to the hospital. They're going to find it. Don't worry, you're not crazy. Something like that. I just felt like, wake up, Mom, take me to the hospital. That's all I can explain. There were no words. It was just the most beautiful interaction. And I knew instantly. I woke up from the meditation nap and I walked back into the hallway. Indiana was still laying on his side. And Luna was next to him. And I just said, Rob, we gotta go. Like, let's take him back. He was like, what do you mean? And I said, let's take him back. I just had a dream or something. He visited me. I don't know. I said, just trust me. Your dream's my dream. This is it. There's something wrong. And so at that point, we just drove him right back to the hospital and they were like, oh, like you just left. What's going on? What happened? And we just said, are you sure you want to check him in? It's going to be this cost. And we just said, yep, take him. Let us know. Something's not right. And so we checked him back in and it took them forever, like, because he wasn't showing any signs of anything really at this point. We didn't get a call back for 12 hours at this point because they were so busy and he wasn't a threat. Luckily they did check and start checking when they did, because they found the blockage. There was a blockage in his small intestine. And they called us and they found something, and we were just like, okay, we knew it. We knew there was something wrong. And they said, this is too big of a blockage. We think it's like material, like a fabric. And we were just thinking like what could he have ingested? We're really extremely careful as, cat owners of what we leave around. And so we were like, what could he have swallowed? Like a sock? Like, is that what you're describing? Like the size of a sock? We were like trying to figure it out. And they're going through x-rays, at this point they hadn't, operated, but they could tell there was a blockage. They just said, I don't think he's going to pass this, whatever this is. It's too big. So we said, okay, like if you have to operate, like, and this is your best guess at this stage, then I guess we just operate. You caught it really early. No other organ systems are having any failures or issues right now. So we got him in at the right time, and it was the best time for this surgery to happen because we were so early. There wasn't any tissue damage. So it was the perfect time to do this. So we said, operate please. And they found a 10-centimeter hairball, like a tube, I think about 4 inches long. I don't know if that's 4 inches right now, don't quote me. And he wouldn't have passed that on his own. There's just no way. So the operation was the only way, from my understanding, through it, what we were told. So we got him in at the right time, and we're just really grateful for, I guess, Indiana, our spirit guides, our angels, I don't know what you want to call them. We feel like we were guided to making this decision to save him, to get him into the right people to save him, So we're really grateful for those messages that we received. And we really think that allowed us to get him the help he needed to kind of save his life. So yeah, I just thought, as it's the Halloween season and it's the time for spooky and eerie stories, this would be the best time to share this story. Sometimes dreams are messages, and let me know in the comments if you've ever had like a prophetic dream where you felt you were guided or told something before it happened. Anyways, thank you guys for listening to Indiana's story.